Today we're going to tackle something pretty advanced, a front walk cycle. Now these can be super difficult to pull off. So not only do we have to consider limbs moving closer or farther away from the camera, there's also a lot of foreshortening as well. But just like everything else, if you have a system of steps that you can follow, really going to make it a lot easier and less painful. Let's jump into Toonboom and give it a shot. So we all know the main poses of a walk cycle. The contact pose, our front foot is just touching the ground. The down pose, where there's more weight in our front foot. So the passing position, where our back foot is now moving to the front. The up pose, our body is at its highest point here. And finally, back to our contact pose, but for our other leg. And then we do it all over again. Now these are important because we need these poses to build our walk. Since we're going to be working with a cutout character rig, if we structure these in the right way, the computer can do a lot of the work for us. Key to a good front walk cycle is perspective. First thing I like to do is draw a ground guide so I know where my feet are going to be. Let's take the line tool and draw 2 lines for each of my feet. One for each foot. Notice how I drew them on a slight angle? That represents that perspective. Okay, I think we're ready to do our first pose now. Let's start with the contact pose. If you're a beginner and you're not really used to using rigs, I recommend you do a draw over first. See, I recommend you do this even if you are used to rigs. Notice we made the front foot really big and the back foot really small. You can actually push this a lot more than you think. The arms will be opposite the legs, so if his left leg is forward, his left arm is back. Also, these sleeve lines are going to help show us which direction the arm is facing. So all we have to do now is match our rig to this amazing drawover. Notice as well how we tilted the hips and the shoulders. That's going to give us a lot of interest in our walk. Okay, perfect. So let's make a keyframe. I'll do the exact same process for the other side. Now we have our 2 contacts in red. So contact 1, contact 2. So now it's time to time out our walk. This one, I'm going to make every step take 16 frames. If we find the timing of our walk isn't working, we can always shorten or lengthen it accordingly. So we're going to move our second contact frame to frame 17. We're going to copy our first contact frame and paste it on frame 33. We play this. Our walk is looping and we have a full cycle. So in a walk cycle, any walk cycle, it's very important for the feet to be evenly spaced. If we were drawing this traditionally, it would be extremely hard to do. Since we are in Toonboom, it's actually going to be super easy. So all we need to do is create a few tweens. So on our first frame, Control K, and on frame 16, Control K. Now we have everything moving like a robot. But let's go to the midpoint. So frame 8. We'll drop a keyframe, and then we can also do the same thing on frame 25. We'll drop a keyframe there. We can delete these tweens for now, and now we have the legs exactly where we want them for our passing position. We're going to have to still do a draw over and make some tweaks, but the computer gave us the correct position for the feet. Here's our passing position draw over, and notice when I activate my rig, a lot of the pieces are already pretty much lined up. That's less work for me. And now, you guessed it, we're going to match the deformers to this drawover. Okay, all done. Still need to do the other foot. I'm going to go all the way to frame 25, and now we can do the exact same steps. You must be noticing a trend. I'm working my way through the main poses of the walk cycle, and I am doing each side at the same time. This really keeps me organized, and I don't lose my place when I'm doing a walk. So with our 2 passing positions put in, the walk is finally starting to come together. we notice his head basically stays in the same spot, and it's kind of boring. So let's add some weight. Let's add some bounce. Let's do the down pose. We're going to do our regular tween from our contact to our passing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right in the middle. Keyframe. Now let's go to our second contact and tween to our second passing. Keyframe right in the middle. Okay, great. So now let's draw in our pose. Notice the legs are slightly bent, and his head and his hips are slightly down. You can push this pose as far as you want. It depends what type of walk that you're going for. Other thing to take a look at is the arms. In our rig, the tweens, the arms are going straight back, but we are delaying the front arm forward and delaying the back arm back. So not every part of the body is moving at the same time. But voila, we have the down pose. And notice how we are spending less and less time on the drawovers and on each pose overall. This is the way we set this up, and the order that we're doing these poses in, the computer is doing more and more of the work. Working smarter, not harder. And now we have one more pose to do, is the up. Go from the passing and tween to our second contact. And then we're going to go from our second passing and tween back to our first contact. Go right in the middle, create our keyframes. So the feet are moving pretty nicely along that line. Now let's do some drawovers. Kind of prove my point that we need to do less and less work as these poses go on. Take a look at these drawovers. I've only outlined the feet and where the hips go. Everything else, like the arms, those are already in place because of the tweens. Let's match these drawovers and then we'll do the other side. That's good enough. Let's play through and see what we have. Right, so overall, that is a nice walk. Walk is fluid. Our feet are moving in the correct perspective. One last thing we need to focus on, and that is the face. With cutout rigs, we don't have to worry about messing up any other part of the animation. So go to the head peg. I'm going to go to my down pose. And as he goes down, I'm going to have his head look up here. We'll stretch that up a bit, grab his bun, and we'll move his bangs up, just like that. And the beauty about color coding our frames is I can just copy this frame to my other purple one, and now we have two down poses with their heads fixed. And let's go to the up position. Now we're going to have the head looking down a little bit. Squash the head the other way this time. Drop the head down slightly. Move the bun up, move the bangs down. We're going to copy the pink to the pink. And if we play through this on 4s, so now we have some really nice head action, and this is finally ready for in-betweens. Let's select all of these keys, and we're just going to press Ctrl-K and add a tween between them. Play through. It's looking okay on ones. But there are some things that are popping out of place. There are a few frames that we may want to clean up. And how we can do that is if we convert this to 2s, some of that stuff might go away. We're going to close our master, and we're going to select everything and press this button right here. Say, convert to 2s. There's 2. Press OK. And now when we play it, a lot of that popping kind of disappears. So now we need to go into each frame and make sure everything is working, getting rid of these weird popping frames, and just cleaning up this whole walk in general. At this stage, you can even check the arcs, the hands, and the feet to make sure everything is moving exactly how you want it. So there you go, we finished our front walk. We broke it down into small steps, and what do you know? It wasn't that hard after all. Try it yourself. I will link this rig in the description so you can practice and follow along with this video. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see everybody in the next video. What are you doing? Marloo.